So, in a bit of surprising news this week, Native Instruments announced that they have finally updated Traktor to version 4.0. And with it, they gave Traktor users some features that they've been waiting for years. Number one being flexible beat grids. Now, when I first started my digital DJing journey, I was a Traktor user. I've done a video on how the Traktor Z2 mixer kind of changed my life in more ways than one, both content and DJing. And I, deep down inside, even though I don't really use Traktor, I kind of cheer them on, and in the back of my mind, I always wanted them to finally kind of get up to date with all the other modern DJ software on the market. And they've been lagging for years now. I know that Native Instruments definitely went through some restructuring a couple times, and Traktor wasn't the priority for the company. I mean, it really wasn't you know, um, a profitable part of their business for a long time, for many reasons. But in that time that they haven't updated it, they really lost a lot of market share. Back when controllers were first becoming a thing in the DJ industry, you saw a lot of Traktor controllers or controllers that supported Traktor, right? And then you got into that era where Native Instruments were really the ones that were putting out Traktor controllers, and you really didn't get support for many other devices. And by doing that, they lost a lot of the market because a lot of people didn't want to just invest in Traktor when they could get a controller that could run multiple pieces of software, right? And while Traktor still has their diehard fan base, mostly in the dance music sector, specifically I think techno DJs, I was using it as a hip hop and R&B open format DJ. I know that seeing all those videos from me of Craze and Clever back in the day rocking Traktor and seeing what they were doing with it really kind of like excited me about the software, me being coming from a more turntablist background, and coming up around the era of the Allies and Craze and Clever winning all those championships. And while Serato was still number one in the club, I went with Traktor when I started digital DJing just because it was so much cheaper. Back then, a Serato box, because there wasn't really many Serato mixers, I think it was just the 57 back then. A Serato box started at like $700-800, and you could get an audio box for Traktor for, I think I got mine for like $300, right? And it just started me on my journey, as far as digital DJing and playing out, right? And I spent many hours, probably hundreds, if not thousands of hours using Traktor, before switching over to Serato full time. But I say all of that to say, is it too late for a software like Traktor, or just in general, like in the world of digital DJing, where we have maybe 2 or 3 really big contenders for the big DJ softwares right now? I would say Rekordbox, Serato are interchangeable for number one spot depending on who you're talking to, and then Virtual DJ, and maybe now DJ Pro 5 is in that space too now with their updates. But is it too late for Traktor when they were at one point probably number 2, before Rekordbox really got the hold of that giant market share that they kind of stole away from Native Instruments and Traktor? Is it too late for them? I think the updates to Traktor with the flexible beat grids, and now including stems that do sound better than Rekordbox DJ stems at the moment, is a good step in the right direction. I also think that the fact that they are now the one major software, besides Virtual DJ, I think, that isn't a subscription, software as a service or SaaS, right? Where you don't have to pay a monthly subscription to use all of the software. I think that's wise. I know in the past they had their subscription plan for a little bit, and it didn't really do anything to kind of move the market when they announced it a few years back. I think it was a few years ago. Now, what do I think Traktor needs to regain its market share? I think number one, they need to get some big name DJs to do some content on it and show that it's a powerful piece of software that's still worth using. And they need DJs out in the field, most importantly, using it more so than they've had in the past. If they're going to make this a push to really kind of reinvigorate the excitement in Traktor, you're going to need those big name DJs to start using the software when they actually play out. I know that when Denon, shout out to Denon, I have my Denon set up back on the desk, came out with the SC5000s, they, invested a good chunk of money in getting people like Laidback Luke, and I don't know if it was, I forgot who else it was, another huge dance music DJ. It might have been Tiesto, I don't remember. But have them use the gear and use Engine as their number one software, bringing it out to gigs, replacing the Pioneer setup and making the clubs install this while they played. And it helped get a little bit of market share for Denon. In the end, I guess it didn't really work out as well as they would have hoped, but a lot of people bought the Denon products, and even more so with the controllers, but they got invested in the Engine DJ ecosystem. And I think that's the most important part, right? How does Native Instruments get people invested in the Traktor ecosystem? Now, I watched a bunch of videos about the updates on this new release, and this seems like it's actually, Native Instruments confirmed that this is just the first piece in ongoing development of features for Traktor. Now, they've had promises like this in the past, and they kind of go radio silent in between, but I really hope that this is the kickoff to more consistent and more frequent updates. I think number one would be, I guess their number one issue is, if your market is dance music DJs, how do you get them to move away from using these things, right? Where so many DJs have been so invested in Rekordbox and how easy it is to carry one of these instead of having to carry this out to a gig. How do you get them to switch back over? What's the incentive to do so? What can Traktor do that Rekordbox on sticks can't do? I think the whole pattern player thing, where there's like a drum machine inside Traktor, is like a nice addition, and especially in the dance music space, when you look at DJs like James Hype that uses the DJS 1000 deck instead of like an extra CDJ where he can like do drum fills on the fly. If you can do that in software, huge help. That's something that Serato doesn't do, besides specific hardware like the Roland controllers. But regardless, you need special hardware to do it on sticks on Rekordbox, right? Instead of bringing that, maybe the laptop's a good replacement for that. Sound quality wise, they have ozone behind them in their fold to like make the sound brighter and bigger with the different plugins, the maximizer limiter thing that they have in there. But I think stems might be the feature that does it for them, right? Where currently with Rekordbox, you have to use a laptop to have stems access, and they don't sound good. They really don't. They're far behind. They're where Algorithm DJ was a few years ago when they first introduced, Neural Mix, their stems, right? Where it sounds pretty nasty, and I wouldn't really use it in a lot of cases. But I would say Traktor's is on par with the Serato stems, or maybe a little bit behind the new DJ Pro 5 stems, which I think are the best in the business right now. And also, stems comparison on the way. I think I'm going to be doing that. Sounds pretty interesting. Comment down below if you would want to hear that or see that. But yeah, I think it might be too late for Traktor. Like number one, I said they need big name DJs to push the product, to get younger DJs interested and excited about the software. I think there's a whole generation of DJs that really don't either know about Traktor or think it's not a good piece of software because there's nobody that really uses it. And besides having those big name DJs use the software out and about, I think they need to start either making more hardware like they did in the past, but at the same time, they need to open up the hardware compatibility to all the other controllers on the market. Algorithm DJ Pro 5 does a really great job of this, where they have supported hardware across so many different hardware manufacturers, from Pioneer to Newmark to Denon to Kai to Vestax to so many different Rain, so many different hardware manufacturers, where it's literally just plug and play. And that's what you need in this market, right? Because if I need to sit there, plug in a controller and map every function, if I'm a new DJ, I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably just going to use another piece of software. It's just plug and play. You need to kind of remove all the barriers to entry, as many as you can, and that's the only way they're going to do it. I know in the past few years, Traktor has done a great job of having HID integration and with different hardware, from these guys right here to the Pioneer CDJs, even the 3000s. Actually, Traktor support for HID on the 3000s is arguably better than Serato. Or maybe I'm thinking the 2000s. I think it's the 2000s, where you actually got moving waveforms, where on the 3000s you didn't. Or I'm sorry, on Serato you didn't on the 2000s. Sorry if that didn't make sense. So, they have the people in place to make that happen and make it really functional. It's just, how do you market it and how do you do it? I'm excited for Traktor. Again, I want to see them really flourish if they're really going to give this a solid go. I hope it's not like what happened with the release of Traktor 3, Traktor Pro 3.0, I guess, because there was a Traktor 3 back in the day. But it needs to be, given the right funding, and it needs to be given the right development behind it, because they have a great product. They've always had a great product, just it kind of fell behind as far as features and functions were concerned, especially when it came to beat grids. I mean, me being an open format DJ, and back in the day when we would use a lot of BPM transition tracks, there was no way to BPM grid the transition from one BPM to the other. And if you're using a Traktor controller, that meant your loops didn't work, that meant your effects didn't work, etc. Your beat jumps didn't work. But now it's possible to do that. Mojax brought up a great point. I really hope that the DJ conversion utility will be able to transfer those flexible beat grids from something like Serato or Rekordbox into Traktor. That would be amazing. That would make my life a lot easier if I'm really going to give this software a go. But yeah, I think if I was a younger DJ and I didn't want to pay the monthly fee it would take me to purchase Serato, right? If I was playing out, and I had all the features, basically, besides on-the-fly stems, that I had with Serato, and I only had to pay a one-time cost for the software, that might make me excited, might make me interested in at least giving Traktor a shot. It has stacked waveforms, it has flexible beat grids, has okay library management functionality, probably on par with Serato. But yeah, it just they need to get the DJ community excited about it. They need to get people interested in it. And right now, they're still kind of the laughing stock slash joke of the DJ technology community because they've just been away for so long and really haven't updated in so long. It's going to take a lot to get them back to at least to where they were. But if given the right resources and given the right partnerships and people behind them, I think they might have a shot at least getting a little bit of that market share back. As far as DJing with a laptop, to me, they're still number two. Serato clear and far away is the number one DJ software, but as far as functionality, user interface, and everything else, Traktor will always be number two in my book, unless Rekordbox does some crazy things to update their, Rekordbox DJ laptop software. But yeah, I'm excited to not only like put some time into using Traktor again and getting familiar with these updates, but it gives me an excuse to bust out my trusty Traktor Z2 mixer and plug that thing back in again because it's been a long time and that excites me. But that's all I got. So pass this off to you guys. Do you think it's too late for Traktor to really make a dent in the DJ space? Go ahead and leave that down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I'll be sure to read all the comments and respond to as many as I can. And if you're looking for more DJ related content, please be sure to click on one of the videos right here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.